All right. So welcome to week 3, video 2, mastering volumes and trading with Urban Forex. Now, we discussed how to solve the little details and the nuisances and what they actually mean. Now we want to touch base on pullbacks. Okay? Now, in a trend, you always have a pullback, right? Now, there is a lot of fine print in that pullback that we have to monitor. For the time being, I want you to monitor it like this. Okay? For the time being, I want you to monitor it like this. This is going to be a step further. And at this level, what I'm about to teach you, you should be able to begin your trading a little bit. Smaller sizes, but begin your trading a little bit. Okay? Assuming you have solid foundation already from the Mastering Price Action course and you're developing foundation from the 4-course bundle. Okay, I'm sure by now you're getting deeper and deeper into the 4-course bundle or have already completed it. Okay, so what I'm about to tell you in this video is basically when you have a high volume break. Okay, so for example, this one. You have a break of the range, or you can say you have the break of the low of this day. Here's the low of that day. Okay, if I say this is day number 3, it says, and this is day number 2, you can see the low of that day gets broken with an increase in volume. Okay, remember, it's not one single candle that matters. I want to see a collective. Okay, I want to see a collective, and it can be like this. It can be a very high volume. Next one is like that, and the next one is like that. That's fine. Doesn't have to be sequential and a staircase also. So don't forget that from lessons of last week. Okay? So as the volume increases and the prices are going down, and we're like, yes, the sellers are still interested in this. And you do your pullback reads based on the Mastering Price Action or the 4-course bundle of, okay, I can see the pullback, V formations, test. This entire phase needs to be lower volume. It must be lower volume, not needs to be. Sorry, that's a wrong word. It must be lower volume than the volume that was generated to come down. Does that make sense? Let me repeat that again. Okay, whenever you have a high volume break, the pullback phase after that, because you might look at this as, okay, that's the seller's territory, it's a downtrend. Now in the pullback, I'm going to start my read. That pullback phase must have lower volume. Okay, it must have lower volume. That tells you a few things. Okay, so if you want, you can pause the video and just think about it what do you think that means? Okay, you can go ahead and pause the video now if you want to think about it. Okay, I'm sure half of you did not pause it. And those who did, very good, taking the time to think about it. But those who you didn't pause, it's also okay. The answer basically is no buyers are stepping in and the sellers are not letting go. Okay? That means the sellers came in hard here and they're not letting go of their position. So imagine yourself, okay? Imagine yourself if you are watching this range, and you have all kinds of information behind you, and you're like, okay, I know the markets are going to be a big sell because my buddy in the bank told me this information, and his buddy in the Parliament House, and then his buddy in the finance exchange, they all basically point to a sell. Okay, so you hit your sell and you hit it hard and a lot because it's big information, and as you hit it hard, you're piling up. Your friends are piling up. All the smart investors are piling up. The sells are going. And then you're in the trade. You're already profitable because you entered here. But now the markets are starting to come back. But there's no volume. It was volume leading up to it. Okay. But then the pullback is very low volume because none of you is removing your profits. You're holding on. That's a very good sign. Okay? How many of you had aha moments right there? You're holding on. You don't want to let it go because you anticipate a further move. Okay? So using this knowledge comes the knowledge of, can I scale in? Okay? A little bit more on an advanced topic, but it comes to that level of, hey, they just gave me a green light to even add more money if you put this into context. Okay? All right. Now, when we look at this here as the next move down, okay, so he's in a range, and they re-hit it again. Okay, that range obviously is, if you go down to your 15, you got your pullback, 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 V formation, test, test, and then boom, breaks down again. Right there, right? As that breaks down, you have dead volume, increase in volume, not the best one in the sky, but it's telling you it's something. Okay, now in this phase, as the pullback starts to come in, notice the pullback that begins from here and here. I'm going to put the line from the high volume right here. Here's your high volume on the break, okay, approximately that area. Notice your pullback volume. It is challenging as high as the volume on the move down. That's not a good sign. Now, when I say that's not a good sign, do you see, if you were to read this on a smaller time frame and you did that sell, notice how this sell performs. He somehow makes it. And that too, not even a lower low. He somehow makes it. But can you compare that to this or this? Do you see the difference here? 2 hours, bam, 2 hours, bam, and then, 5-6 hours of struggling. Now do you see the power of volumes? It tells you ahead of time what kind of trade to expect. Now, how differently would you manage your trades once you have this information? How much more money would you put on a trade? How much less money would you put on a trade? Can you start to see the power of this? Can you start to even imagine of, oh my God, I can actually see that the little sudden changes the whole game of the performance of, if I do the sell, how is the sell going to work? How is the sell going to work? Here's another thing. Those of you who would look at this on a smaller time frame and saying, okay, well, I got my pullback and then some kind of pullback, again on a 15 minutes, and then I got my V formation. Why is my test 1, test 2 going higher than my V formation? But he's not going higher, he's probing it. Yeah, now you know why. Because buyers are stepping in a little bit. Buyers are stepping in. This is not a smooth trade. That's when you say, well, if I know ahead of time, well ahead of time, this wasn't a last second, oh my God, I don't know what happened. You knew this information well ahead of time. What do you do about it? Does that make sense? It takes a whole movement this long before the move actually develops and goes down, because the time frame has shifted on this. The 4-hour boys have taken over this trade. Okay? The 4-hour boys have taken over this trade. And again, as we go into the future weeks, I'm going to show you how all this stuff works. All this stuff. We're going to get into it little by little, and make sure you get into everything. Here's a quick little update. Okay? Now, as my personality and how I like to always bring in the wow factor all the time, there is going to be a week 6 bonus. Okay, I'm just telling you right now, there's going to be a week 6 bonus where I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into how to classify really, really good trades and how to even understand counter trends and all that stuff. So when you got the course, you were told it's 5 weeks, but I am telling you right now, there is a additional bonus for 6 weeks. Those of you who want to complain and saying, oh my God, you told me it's 5 weeks. Now you're telling me it's 6 weeks. That was not advertised the way when I bought it, etc., etc., etc. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but the week 6 is not mandatory. It is not going to make you better or worse. It is an extra layer of information which I personally believe you're going to love. Okay? I personally believe you're going to love. So, okay, let's go on to the next video and let's do some more examples on what I've taught you on the pullback part. Okay? Let's do this.